Okay, welcome to the official day one of our 7-day free course, all about how to start an interior design or architecture or styling or landscape design business from scratch. So if you do not yet have the Notion dashboard, go back to the video in the series yesterday and I will talk you through how to get this dashboard, because then you can link through to the other resources and articles that I've got as part of this free course, and also you will be able to check off the checklist and also, yeah, just follow along step by step. So that is available inside the free community, my free community. So I've got instructions yesterday for how to do that. There's a link below if you want to just jump into the free community, and then you can come and join the free course over there and get access to all these extra materials there. Today, what we're doing, day one of the course, is to look at your foundations and your legal setup. So what we're going to do is just work through this checklist basically step by step together. I'm going to just jump off the template, which I walked you through how to set up yesterday. So you, once you duplicate this into your dashboard, will be able to then check things off yourself as well, off the checklist. So I'm just going to basically work through the checklist like I would want you to do as well. And I'm just going to walk you through each of the steps as we go so that you know what to do and you can see that it's actually not that challenging and not that difficult. So some things will take you a little bit more time to work through and do. Other things are just quick, and other things are just reading an article or whatever, so that you just have a bit of a better understanding. So let's start with this, which is just the mention that when you're setting up a business, lots of people think that you don't need to spend anything, or that you have, no funds and you're not going to be able to pay for anything because you don't have any money to put towards anything. I just want to break your mindset on that before you get started with launching your own business, because even though a service-based business like an interior designer or an architecture business have very, very low setup costs, there are still setup costs. What I notice though is that many, many designers spend money on the wrong thing. So they might spend $10,000 trying to get their website set up by someone and trying to get this like fancy website going, when I'm going to show you on day, whatever day we get to, day 5, we can just set a website up for free, and we're going to do it together in day 5. So save your $10,000 on getting your website put together by some designer. You can do all of that later on down the track, but that is not a good spend of your startup capital at the front end. Instead, I want you to be spending on your professionals that are going to help you with your business. So think your lawyer, accountant, getting some business insurance and that sort of thing. That is the best thing to be spending your startup capital on in the beginnings, and there will be some costs. So what I like to say to designers is that when you are working on a client's home or even on their business premises, you're working on one of their largest assets. And so when you are first getting started in business, it can be tempting to, either copy a legal contract off the internet or buy some cheap legal template. I do not suggest you do any of that. I suggest you spend some money, spend a few $1,000s, find a lawyer who is, and we're going to talk about this on day 3, but find a lawyer who is specialized in the industry and pay to get those contracts put together. That means that you are taking your business seriously, and the more seriously you take your business up front, i.e. not as a hobbyist, more as a professional, the more you are going to be looking as a professional to clients, and that's going to obviously be something that encourages them to want to work with you. But despite all of that, you are also working on their biggest asset, and so copied contracts and templates off the internet is not a good idea. So I've got a bit of an article here that is worth reading, which is just about the sort of setup costs that you can anticipate when you are setting up an interior design business, getting a good computer, getting some basic sort of software. You'll need some technical drawing software. So there are some costs. So that article walks you through that. So click out to that when you are ready and have a read of that once we've finished on the video here. So that's step 1. Next step is to decide your business name. Now, people agonize over this, so I don't want you to do that. I've got some tips for naming your business. Again, read this article because that will walk you through, but I will just basically walk you through the way to think up naming a business. And then you can read this in your own time. So first of all, don't be super clever. Don't try and make it something overly complicated, something too long, something clever, something that's difficult to say, something that's difficult to spell, using the different spellings of a word that I'm trying to think of an example, but like a word might sound like one word, but you're going to name it in a clever way. The problem with that sort of thing is if you're ever like on a podcast or you're ever talking about your business, yeah, well, here's Flickr. So if you were just talking about that and you didn't know what it was, you might not know that it's spelled without the ER, So just avoid that sort of thing when you're naming your business. Try and choose a name that also won't limit you. So in terms of, putting your personal name into the business. I've got actually a different article for you about that, about whether you should or you shouldn't put your personal name into your interior design business. And I give you the pros and cons of that. So I would suggest that you have a read through that as well. But generally, if you think that you are ever going to sell the business, which for most of you probably you won't be, it's going to be fine to include your name in your business. So, Claire Leroy studio or whatever. And I'm going to give you an example in a minute because I'm going to make a fake design business as we go through this process. And I'm going to set this fake business up with my alter ego Charlotte, who we're going to introduce in a moment. And I'll show you that I am just going to use her name because that's fine if you aren't planning on selling the business, which most of you aren't. But I would encourage you to read both of these articles. So a couple of other things. If you can use like interior design or design studio or something in the name, that will help with your search and stuff. But search these days, honestly, with AI coming or here, is less important than it used to be. So don't worry too much about that. We are going to have to check that nobody is using the name. So we're going to do that in a second in terms of just checking the name availability. So make sure you don't settle on a name until you have done local checks. So for us in Australia, it would be on the business name registration page here, but you will, wherever you are in the world, have something similar. So you need to find that and then do the checks to make sure no one else is using that business name. And then back to our little article here. Where's that gone? Here. No, not that one. Oh, I closed it down. Okay, hang on. We'll find it again. Here it is. Okay, where were we up to? So keywords, check, nobody's using the name. Okay, make sure you can get the domain and social handles for the name as well. So we're going to do that ourselves in a second when we check Charlotte's business name. But just to make sure that you can get all of these, because you want to make sure that your handle on like Instagram and other social profiles is the same across all of the profiles. So you want to make sure you can get all of them. And if you can't, I would suggest you go back to the drawing board and find a different name. I would also just ask your family and friends once you've got something that's available and all the social handles are available, and just see, do they like it? Do they think it's easy to say, to all of that sort of thing, and then just do a final gut check. So just have a read through this. That'll give you the full detail on that. One of the big things is say the name out loud. So one of the things when I named my business, The Little Design Corner, which started as a hobby blog, it was not meant to be an 8-figure business, which it now is. I never would have called it The Little Design Corner had I known that. But one thing I never did was actually say the name out loud. So it's actually a real mouthful to say out loud. And when I was working as a serious interior designer, I had very high-end clients and I used to speak with quite high-end suppliers and people like that. I used to find it quite embarrassing to say, "Hi, it's Claire from The Little Design Corner." It just sounded very cottage industry, I thought. So be proud of your name. Think about where your business might head. I didn't, so that was my mistake. And think about whether it's easy to say, whether it's easy for people to remember. The Little Design Corner is also not hugely easy to remember. Either that or people are too embarrassed to say it themselves. So I often get, the Design Corner or the Little Designer Room. I get all sorts of variations on the Little Design Corner. So just be careful not to make it too long or complicated, and also just say it out loud before you make that final decision. Okay, so that is naming, deciding on the name of the business. So let's now do that process and do the whole name check and everything ourselves. So I have my alter ego that we're going to be setting up her business as we move through in this live build course, and her alter ego is going to be called Charlotte Blair. And so the first thing that I want to do is to think about names for Charlotte's business. So one of the things you can do, which will make this process really easy, is to actually jump into ChatGPT. And so you can jump in and type something like, "My name is Charlotte Blair and I'm about to start an interior design business from scratch. I am currently thinking about naming my business and what to call it. I am thinking something along the lines of Charlotte Blair Interiors, or perhaps Charlotte Blair Design Studio. But I was hoping you could give me some other alternatives or ideas that perhaps I haven't thought of yet. Okay, let's hit that in ChatGPT and see what Charlotte Blair's got a good ring to it. Okay, so Charlotte Blair, the interior classic safe, a bit expected. Charlotte Blair Design Studio, Charlotte Studio, Charlotte Blair Studio. So I would do this process for you, and I would just choose the one that resonates the best for you. So for me, Charlotte Blair Interiors. The other thing is Charlotte Blair Interiors would lock me in, or Charlotte, into interiors. I'm going to stuff ChatGPT up, by the way, because it knows that I'm not called Charlotte Blair. It's going to throw my whole history with ChatGPT. Anyway, that's okay. I should have said I'm pretending to be. So it's given me some alternative names like North and Blair. Like the thing about doing things like that is North and Blair sounds like I have some magical partner. So I don't think that's a very good name. The interior chapter sounds a bit lame. I doubt it's available anyway. Studio Sage, where did that come from? So it'll give you some random results, but that's the sort of thing you can be asking it just to come up with other ideas. I think something like Charlotte Blair Interiors, which locks Charlotte into interiors, so maybe even Charlotte Blair Designs, or Charlotte Blair Design Studio starts to get a bit long. Charlotte Blair Studio, that could be an option, but I don't think that sounds very good. What about Charlotte Blair Designs? I think we try Charlotte Blair Interiors and Charlotte Blair Designs. So what we're going to do first is to go have a bit of a go through looking at the domain availability and the social handle availability, because that'll probably determine which one we go with. Now, I just go with GoDaddy to do a search for this, but when we go to actually purchase your domain, if you don't have a website set up yet, I would suggest that you go into Squarespace, and actually I'm going to do this through a incognito tab so that it doesn't recognize me. Can you see that? Let me just check if you can see that incognito tab, because I want to start it from scratch. Yep. Okay, we'll come back to that in a second, because I don't want it to recognize my current Squarespace accounts. So I would come to Squarespace, because you can purchase domains through Squarespace as well. But just for the interest of just searching, just go to anywhere that you can search domains. It doesn't have to be GoDaddy. I'm just showing my age by going to GoDaddy. And let's just start with charlotteblair.interiors.com. Try and get the .com if you can, even if you're in a different country, because I just think it's easier and better. But you can, if you're in Australia, go .com.au. So Charlotte Blair Interiors is available. And let's have a look at Charlotte Blair Studio. That's also available. Or Charlotte Blair, what did I say? Designs. Also available. So all of those are available, which is really good. So, I mean, one thing you could do is now to go back to ChatGPT and say, actually, if the first thing we should do before that is that all the handles might not be available. So let's just have a look at that on Instagram. So I'll show you how I would do that. So we'll come over to Instagram. I'm connected on my phone. It's just, there we go. Okay, so what I would do is let's just run through Charlotte Blair. So all I've done, by the way, is you just go to the search little thing at the bottom there, and we'll go Charlotte Blair. Just make sure you spell it correctly. Charlotte Blair Interiors, and then go search, and then go specifically to accounts, and it says no accounts for Charlotte Blair Interiors. So that was good. That one's available. Charlotte Blair Studio, I think, might be the way to go, because it's a bit shorter, a bit easier to say. Charlotte Blair Studio is also available. And what was the other one? Charlotte Blair Designs. So also available. I think we'll run with Studio. So Charlotte Blair Studio, because I think it's easiest to say, and it gives you enough flexibility for Charlotte to go down different pathways down the track if she wants to. pretty easy to say. Bit too long, but Charlotte has a long name, so there's not much she can do about that. If she had a shorter name like Claire, i.e. my real name, not Charlotte's name, that would be easier. But anyway, let's just run with Charlotte Blair Studio. So that's available. And probably a good idea is that at the point at which you're ready to decide on this, you grab that handle. We're not going to be doing that exercise until day 6, but I would be inclined to just grab that handle once you've made your decision, because then you'll know that you've got it. So the other thing you'll want to do is to just go through a couple of other places. So Charlotte Blair Blair, I think it'll be available on here. Charlotte Blair Studio people. Charlotte Hair Studio, yeah. So I don't think I think it's available there. But what we can actually do, which would be better, is if we come back here, I can just go Facebook and then go Charlotte Blair Studio. Yeah, and it doesn't seem to be available, that like it's not been used. So I think that'll be safe. And then you can check things like Pinterest and stuff if you want. I've got a list. Where was the list of the places worth checking? TikTok's worth checking. It depends if you're going to use these, but I would just grab the handles. So YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook, Instagram. And that's the sort of info there on how you can get the domain and social channels. So that's one of the links that you can use to just checklist that off and make sure. But I think we run with Charlotte Blair Studio. So let's just check where we're up to. The domain's available. The social media handles are available. I am going to do a business name search. So Charlotte Blair, what do I say? Studio. Charlotte Blair Studio is available, so I'd be able to get the name, which is good. And then I would check also like ASIC company registry, so ASIC business registry. So you'll just need to know what search ASIC registry. Start searching. So Charlotte. This just gets you out of Charlotte Blair Studio of taking someone's trademark or having someone's business name. That looks fine as well. So just go through all the different places that you need to check. So that will be a local jurisdiction issue. Trademark search, I don't even know how to do that. Trademark search, but we better just search how to do IP Australia. You should be able to find yours locally. Trademark search Australia. You could probably do an international search too. IP Australia. That looks like maybe someone you have to pay. Trademark, business gov. Check now. All right, so you can go there if you're in Australia, check a word or phrase, check a logo. So you can check your logo or you can check Charlotte Blair. I think the chances of this is pretty low, but you just never know. Services, interior design. Okay, interior design. Okay, it's checking the trademark. I've actually not done this process before. Probably should have. Review checks. Here's all the things that are similar. So I think all of that looks okay because nobody has Charlotte Blair Studio. So that looks all right. So I am not a lawyer, so I am just, basically doing that off Google. But that's worth just running through as well. And then when you do hire your lawyer, you can just ask if there's any other checks or anything that you need to do before you lock in, and just make sure that you've done everything that's correct, because I am not a lawyer and I want to just make sure you guys do everything correctly. So they're the sorts of things to check through, but I think we are safe on Charlotte Blair Studio being the name. So that takes a couple of minutes to decide. Okay, next thing I would do is purchase the domain. So let's do that. I don't particularly want to purchase it because that's going to cost me money, but let me show you on Squarespace. We'll log in. I might just log in with a personal account. And then that should be possible to just have this. Let's do that. That should be different to my business. Let me just do that. Yep. So I'm basically doing all of this live for you because so many people use excuses for why this all takes so long. So we'll create an account. So this is like what you would do to set up. This is how fast this needs to be. Okay. So then we are going to do the website ourselves in due course, but probably the best thing to do, we'll just follow their get started, because if we come to back to here for a second, I'll just show you. We're going to do website setup on day 5, but in order to get to the domain, because you can get your domain and your professional email through Squarespace, you can do it all in one. I know that because I've done it before for other businesses and stuff that I've started myself. So I think this is the best bet to keep things contained and make it really easy. So what's the site about? Interior design. So select, I think there's probably one for there's architecture, there's landscape design, there's everyone who's probably watching this will have your own category. So just Charlotte's going to be an interior designer. So let's go with interior design. And then we're going to click next. And then what do we want to do with the website? We want to be able to publish a blog. We want to be able to promote a physical business. We want to be able to sell our services. We don't want to promote a physical business. We want to sell our services. We want to get appointments. We want to, we want to offer a contact form. And that's about everything we need to do at the moment. So we'll just click next, because you can always change that. We can build a template or choose a template. We are going to choose a template. This will help us actually when we get to our week 5, because our day 5, I should say, because we will have done this. So let's pick a template for Charlotte's website. What about this thing here? That probably looks good enough. We're just going to make a very simple website when we get to that point. Apply now. We don't need it very complicated. I think that will be good, because all we're going to be doing for Charlotte's initial website is just getting something up, because honestly, when you are first starting in a business, nobody is visiting your website because nobody even knows who you are. So all we're trying to do at the moment is just get you an online presence, so that if clients do start to, or if and when clients start to contact you, they actually can find a website and that there's something up. So that's our aim for the total aim that we have at the moment in terms of what we're trying to do. So we can click through to have a look at like different colorings here on this website before we create it. You can always change all of this later as well. But let's go with, maybe we'll just go with this one. I think that looks nice. Start with design. Okay, I haven't done this process for so long, I can't even remember the point at which we actually get our domain, but I know that you can do it. Probably going to have to buy Charlotte's domain, which is kind of annoying, but anyway, that's okay. Okay, so Claire's setup guide. It's meant to be Charlotte, but anyway, that's okay. All right, so here is where you would be able to then get a custom domain. So we're going to do that, get a custom domain, get a domain. I'm probably going to have to buy Charlotte's domain, I think. So Charlotte, what do we call it? blairstudio.com. And it is available, and it's going to cost me $20 a year. That's okay. This is the things I do for you guys. Okay, so check out for Charlotte's. I don't want it for 3 years. We just want it for 1 year. And we're going to save and continue. And we are going to fill in this. So hang on, I am going to take you guys off this for a minute so you can come and look at me. Hi. All right, well, I put my personal details in, so let me just do that and we'll just go through the checkout process so you're not missing anything. I am just checking out with my personal details, which I obviously do not want you guys to know. No offense. And then we will click back. I almost said my address out loud. That was a bit silly. No, not that. So you could be doing this at exactly the same time as me. You can just be stopping and starting this process. Okay, what's wrong? You don't like my phone number. Australia. Okay. We're getting there, sorry. Okay. Credit card details. Sorry, this is a bit boring, this section, but you can just be doing this at the same time. Okay, hang on, it didn't like my ABN. I've got to give it my ABN. Now, you won't have checked out, you won't have done your ABN yet, which is an Australian business number, which if you're overseas, you'll have different registration numbers, but I've put the wrong one in, so let me just get the correct one. So you'll just have to leave yours blank for the minute because you haven't set yours up yet. ABN. Okay, let's try that again. Really doesn't like that. Where is my ABN? Company ABN? Let's try that one. All right, now we're right. charlotteblairstudio.com. Very close. It's doing its thinking. All right, here we go. Is there anything on there that you guys can't see? No. Okay, so here we go. I've just purchased that. That's all taken a couple of minutes, and we now own charlotteblairstudio.com. So that step is done. Now, email verification, I can sort that out in a little bit. Now, the other thing that we want to do is to get a professional email. So let's just go through, personalize your site. We'll do all this when we get to the website creating, but we want to also, if we just look at our checklist, I'm just checking when we actually are going to do this. Yeah, we've done that. We've got our domain. We want to also try and get our professional domain. Now, let's talk about that just briefly. In fact, I'm going to email the little design corner professional email because I've got an article, I'm pretty sure, on this as well about why you should not be using like charlotteblairstudio@gmail.com, which is what lots of people do. I can't find the article on that, but I'll try and find it and add it there if I've got an article, but I've definitely done Instagram posts on this before, so we can probably find that. So the thing about this is that I see so many of your email addresses because so many people email me. It looks really, really, but here we go. I'll just link to this. So I'll put this in our template. I need to add it to this other template. Okay, I'll just remember to do that. So this really puts clients off. mydesignstudio@hotmail.com or gmail.com or whatever. It looks extremely unprofessional. And if, as I was saying at the beginning, if you're going to be working professionally with people who have very expensive houses, like you really need to just take a couple of minutes to set up your domain under your new domain that we've just purchased. So let's go back to here because I know that you can do it in Squarespace. So I know that we are able to do it here. I just can't remember how to do it. So now we're going to just have to work out how to do it. Setup guide. Personalize, customize your brand style, set up scheduling, which we want to do in a few days. Start selling services. We don't need to do any of that yet. So where do we, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll Google it. I probably should have looked up how to do that before recording. How to get professional email on Squarespace. Professional email address for business. Get started. Oh, okay. Well, we're already in there. So how do I do it? Is AI going to tell me? Help. To get professional email on Squarespace, you'll need to integrate with a third party. That's not true because it lets you do it on the account. Existing email, domain hosting, Squarespace. Oh, you know what it is? It'll be once I think you've paid for your site. I know that you can do it on Squarespace. So I won't waste your time trying to fiddle around how to do it. But just please trust me that you need to set this up, and you can do it in Gmail, in Squarespace, because I've done it in Squarespace myself. Oh, email campaigns. I'll see if I can find out how to do it before I record another video. But just take the time to work out how to do it once you've paid for your website and stuff. I'm probably not going to buy the few $100s worth of website membership once we get to that point. We've just bought the domain at this point because I'm not sure if I'm necessarily going to do that. We may not. It'll just depend how much I'm able to do for free. So yes, just trust me that you can do it through here and set it up through here, and I'll try and work out how you do it, but otherwise you guys need to just work out how to do it. And please don't use Gmail. Just use your name at the new charlotteblairstudio.com, okay? Because it's going to look so much better. So that is that step. And you can definitely do that through Squarespace. Okay, the next thing is what we were talking about before, which is to register your name, like your ABN, if you're in Australia, or if you've got other tax things that you've got to register for. You can get advice from an accountant or a lawyer. They should be able to tell you what you need. And if you're not sure, like even a Google search will give you enough information. But I would just recommend getting professional advice on that one to just make sure that you're covering off all your bases, and you're going to be finding your professionals in the next couple of days. The next thing is to choose your business structure. Again, I would encourage you to get advice from an accountant or your lawyer on this one as well. Because that will have different tax implications for you. So depending on how much you think you're going to be making in your business, and how much you want to be making in your business, and what thresholds. So for example, in Australia, you have to register for GST if you earn over, I think it's $75,000 in revenue in a year. That might have changed. I'm not 100% sure. It's been a while since I registered for GST, but it used to be that. So something around that region anyway. So make sure you know what's required of you, and if you're earning over the threshold or under the threshold, what you need to be doing. So again, I would talk to professionals about that, but just know that you need to make these choices. So I set myself up as a company from the start rather than a sole trader, which is a PTY Ltd in Australia. The reason being that it gives you some protection from various things in terms of de-risking your personal assets by having a company, and also there's other sort of tax reasons why you would go for a company over a sole trader. But again, that's because of my own personal circumstances, and that is why you should go and get some advice for your specific circumstances. So I would encourage you to do that and make sure that you have made a good choice for your business rather than just go with whatever you think, because it can make a difference from the start. I'm pretty sure that you can always switch things around. Like if you start as a sole trader, you can turn it into a company later on. But again, I am not a lawyer, and I don't know, so don't trust me on that. And I just want to make sure that I'm protecting myself on this video to just say that, like, please go and get professional advice on that, and don't follow what I have done just because that's what I said that I did, because my circumstances are very likely to be different to yours. So all I'm saying is this is a task that needs to be done. Deciding your business structure and making sure you set your business up. So what I do is, because I do start companies, is I then get my accountant to start my new company for me. So that is the person that I go to. So I always start companies, like rather than sole trader, but I go to him and I say, okay, I want to start a company called XYZ. He charges me a few $1,000s and he will set up all of the different things that are required, like getting the ABN, making sure all of those checks and balances are done. And it's just worth paying that money to know that you've set yourself up correctly from the start. And he or she will tell you exactly what they need from you. Some of those things we will be doing tomorrow, like setting up your bank accounts and doing that sort of thing. And then they will also help you, get set up with your accounting software and all of that. But we'll go into that in detail tomorrow. So that is day one. And we've got as far as already naming Charlotte's business, and we have got her basics sorted out with her domain purchased. I will also make sure I grab that social media handle. I'll do that once I get off. But actually, I'll show you how to do that too, just because it will be worth just saying that that's really easy as well. So I'm just going to, okay, you either will have to sign up for Instagram so just get Instagram for the minute and maybe YouTube. They'd be the two that I would pick up. But I'm just only going to bother with Instagram because this is a teaching exercise for me. For you, I would try and grab all the handles on that list that I showed you, which is in that blog post. Where's that gone? Here. So it's in that blog post that's linked in here, which you can get from my free community. So this is the benefits of joining the free community, so you can get all these extra links rather than just watch it here on YouTube. So go and make sure you grab all the handles for your business. But because I'm just doing a fake business for Charlotte, it doesn't matter quite as much. So let's grab Charlotte's business though. So if you already have Instagram, all you need to do is click and hold on the bottom, on your picture in the bottom, what's that called? Right-hand corner. And I'm just going to add an Instagram account. I'm going to I'm going to create a new account. I'm going to take Charlotte's handle, Charlotte Blair, what did I say? Studio. And then I'm going to really double check. Oh no, does someone already have it? Charlotte Blair Studio. Why can't I change it? No, it just doesn't like me for some reason, because all of these are not going to be taken. Charlotte Blair Design. Okay, let's just go out of this and let's come back in and see if Instagram's just playing up. Or I might have too many accounts. There's always that possibility as well. Create a new account. Charlotte Blair Studio. Okay, why does it not like me? Pick a username for your account. All right, you know what? I'm not going to stick with you on that as well. We are coming down to Instagram on day 6 because I have no idea why it's playing up. I think there's an issue with Instagram, and it could be that I have too many accounts. So I'm going to just work that out without you guys sitting there. You should be able to just grab the name is not taken, so you should be able to just grab the name. It shouldn't be an issue. Oh, you know what I could do, although it's under the wrong email, is I could change the name of this account, but it's already got, no, we're not going to do that because it's already got a lot of followers on it. Yes, let's not do that. Let's go to add account. I'm going to try one more time. If it starts working, I'll take you back over. No, it just doesn't like me. Okay, so that is annoying because that should just work and it's not. So I've never had an issue with that before. So I'll work out why that is and I'll come back to you tomorrow on why that is. But that is our checklist done for today. So also try and grab that Instagram handle and make sure that you've got that. And then that's day 1. So we've done day 1. Tomorrow we will come back and we will move into the finances and tax section. And we will work through all of the things in that list tomorrow. So good job on day 1. Get those things done for today before you move on to the next video and get that professional advice for those things that you need. We are going to be contacting professionals from tomorrow. So we're going to be reaching out to accountant tomorrow anyway. So you might want to wait and see all the things you want to talk about with the accountant before you reach out to the accountant. So we can go through those tomorrow and then you can reach out to your accountant with all of the things in one question bundle. So that's day 1. Hopefully that was helpful and I'll see you back here for day 2 tomorrow. Bye for now.